My relationship with feet is a lot like my relationship with women. Almost every single time transactional, and nobody's ever happy about it. I like to think of myself as respectful of people's different needs. But the need to sniff, touch, lick, or even poke feet absolutely eludes me. Now, am I gonna sit here and play dumb and say, okay, maybe with a couple drinks in me, I haven't given it a go? No, of course not. I'm a human being. A man's gotta know what a man likes. And I can tell you the minute that my tongue caressed a soul, I did not like it. See what I mean about most of my encounters with women ending unhappily? Even with that said, though, there would be a few exceptions. One being Doja Cat, number 2 being Ice Spice, and number 3 being Sam Halleck, who, if they told me to suck the polish off their toenails, I would be an industrial level cleaner. Which, funnily enough, leads us on to today's topic. Those 3 being mega famous superstars who are all my big time celebrity crushes, I know I would never stand a chance with a single one of them. But what would you do if you stood the chance to be with someone who's more of a local niche celebrity that you can actually get your fingers on? Chuggaaconroy, aka now known as the foot fetish YouTuber. If you're unfamiliar with Chuggaaconroy and his antics, I don't blame you. To be honest, I was unfamiliar with him as a person up until I heard this story, and that's coming from someone who's on the later spectrum of the Gen Z pipeline. So I certainly can't expect a 69% female viewer base, very nice, that skews quite young, to have any cooking clue who this chap is. So allow me to do the one thing that women love: explain history in a very demeaning tone to you. I know there's some smart girls out there who like history, but I only date dumb bitches. So every girl I've ever been with has always rolled their eyes whenever I've mentioned the Battle of Verdun. Chuggaaconroy, or otherwise known as Emiliano, which, god damn boy, what a sexy name, is what could only be described as an OG YouTuber, and he's described by some as the original Let's Player. Before your PewDiePies, Game Grumps, Jacksepticeyes, and Markipliers, where the entire format and genre of the Let's Plays is basically like listening to a podcast in short form, Chugga was out here pumping these videos out of a genuine love for the video games he played, mostly focused on Nintendo. With his first upload being almost 15 years ago, Chugga is truly a veteran of this website. He's also highly respected and highly regarded as one of the most wholesome YouTubers to ever live. As for the most part, almost all of his videos are clean, cut, and dry, from what I've seen personally, because I'm not familiar with this channel up until now, and he seems to have a genuinely good attitude and a good passion for what he's talking about. But as it turns out with every single age-old story, the nice guy who all the girls look over turns out not to be such a nice guy after all, as Chugga is something of a kinky boy, and specifically his kink is over smelly, dirty feet. Okay, let's break this story down. Oh, and big ups to Gamer from Mars for compacting it for me so I know exactly what the timeline is. It's not stealing if you shout out your source, just like it's not cheating if you announce that you're doing it. Babe, come in here! I'm balls deep in your sister! Our story begins with a YouTuber who I actually am familiar with, Lady Emily, making some vague tweets about a certain YouTuber, who we later find out is Chuggaaconroy, and how this perceived wholesome YouTuber is actually a creep behind the scenes. Scrolling through Reddit and seeing dozens of comments calling the popular YouTuber who sexually harassed me for several months last year a wholesome bean with only green flags. First of all, not you, Lady Emily, everyone on Reddit who says wholesome bean, that's disgusting. Second of all, twice. After a little bit of dancing around the hairy bush, and a couple more vague tweets implying Chugga's interests in certain games, Emily just straight out announced it. Just to get it off my chest, last year, Chuggaaconroy kept trying to get me to initiate an erotic foot fetish roleplay with him, while he also had a girlfriend. I repeat, it's not cheating if you announce it. Babe, I'm going to suck another woman's toes! This including sending shoes to my house under the guise of a gift, only for Mr. Chugga to constantly ask her to send pictures of her wearing those shoes. Now, our girl Emily here did come with the receipts, because after announcing who it was and what exactly they were trying to get her to do, she then dropped every single screenshot she had. Hiroshima be damned. This was a nuclear explosion of drama. And god damn am I gonna suck up the radiation. Lady Emily eventually said that she had to begin ignoring Chugga as the request for feet pics became overly aggressive. Eventually I just started to ignore him because I wasn't sure how to navigate around him clearly trying to rope me into his fetish shit. And in return his message to me got more frequent and more aggressive. Here is one such example of that exchange. So I originally planned to go with black with a floral pattern, but they lacked it in your size. This is Chugga to Emily because he's buying her a pair of shoes. So I went with what I thought was most likely likely to go with any clothes. Oh, honestly, great call because I love black high tops. Just for the record, Emily makes video essays and is what I would describe as an art hoe, so it would be more shocking if she didn't like black high tops. Chuggaaconroy, ha ha ha, it's my personal favorite shoe. It's a great shoe with everything. Chuggaaconroy, and I have to say this in an anime voice because it's the only way to do it justice. Do I get to see you in them? We then see an example of Chuggaaconroy realizing that he screwed up as he starts to send frequent messages over and over again, trying to gauge the feel of the room with Emily. I'm almost positive you understand what I mean, but to clarify, it's like when you do something bad to another human being and you start lining out your fishing rods, hinting, trying to gauge how they feel on the situation. And you can tell this is occurring because of the amount of messages that he's shooting her way with no response. You tend to disappear. Aw, gonna ping you once more. Well, hello. Have a nice doctor's visit. Sorry to ping again, I just wanted to know.
Damn, you're no fun.
Kidding, just a little concerned. And that goes on for at least 3 different screenshots worth. Emily then goes on to explain that as far as she knows, she's not the only one to be an unwilling participant in Chugga's fantasy, saying he would try to assure me everything is fine while also clearly trying to initiate fetish. That's what I thought too, lol. I was like, I could fix this, but it's funnier if it's flawed. At times, I do miss the versatility... I can't say that word. Of the old Avatar, it was fun to mess with. This is Chuggaaconroy. Is that the face you'd make if I ran off with your shoes at a con? LMAO, something like that. Ha ha ha.
What would you even do?
Fellas, I do not care how down bad you are. Whether it comes to role-playing, dirty texting, whatever. If you're gonna do it, whack off before you do it. The depravity in your brain cannot be trusted. That monkey part of your mind wants to destroy you. Release the demon in you before you engage. Another example of Chugga trying to engage with Emily, which I would be insane not to share. Good, glad we understand each other. Walks up behind you and trips you with some fancy footwork. You fud to the ground and I yank your sneakers off in an instant. Haha, loser, chucks them at you. So cartoonish! I'm almost shocked that he didn't say there's stink lines coming off your feet. I'm gonna waft towards them, girl. Emily then enlightens us later on in her Twitter thread on how this all began, and how Chugga began to build the confidence to be an absolute creep. It had started with him attending my Pokemon Black streams last December and chatting. We started talking in DMs because he seemed chill. Then on June the 4th, I uploaded a selfie and he zoomed into my shoes in the background and messaged me about them. Nice sneakers! Lol. Thank you, I need new ones to be honest. My everyday pair is starting to see some damage. Seems sadly typical due to the thin fabric. Now see, part of me was up until this point, and I'm sorry to say, was wondering if Emily was engaging in this a little bit due to some of the text messages being cut off. But now I don't think she was at all. Purely because, dude, I don't know what kind of fabric my fucking shoes have. I don't think anybody does. So for someone to know the different fabrics on the soles of shoes is 1, a creep, and 2, a loser creep who's into sneakers. Yeah, the curse of liking shoes that aren't durable. Got them on sale though for $20. Can't complain. Hope you're doing well. Bladder, bladder, bladder. And this is when Chugga offers to be a kind Samaritan and send her a pair of shoes. So, like, do you have a P.O. box? Not at the moment, no. Fuck! It didn't actually say that on the Twitter, but that's how I imagine how it went.
Bitch, show me a right now.
Oh well, I was going to see if I could partake in birthday niceness. I know I said this twice, but again. Who talks like this? This man's 32. This was cringe when I was 13. Chugga then offers to send her a pair of shoes. Good work. If I may be so bold, sneaker size? Emily then goes on to explain that most of her conversations with Chuggaaconroy would turn out this way. Initially, they would be speaking about Nintendo games, Nintendo products, and things like that, and Chugga would intentionally steer the conversation aggressively towards feet talk. Convos would often derail suddenly. She even went on to say he was very persistent in commenting on how big my feet are. I try to respond with blunt jokes and make the vibes less creepy out of nerves. Now, what puts the real seal in Chugga's coffin is he can't even have the excuse of it being an impersonator or someone pretending to be him, as the way Emily got his Discord was directly through Twitter off his direct Twitter, so she knew she was talking to the real feet-loving ordeal. But Chugga's part in all of this after the DMs leaked, as I'm pretty sure he knew this was already coming due to the fact that he was pretty much begging her not to, or at least fishing for a way to stop her, did eventually eventually apologized to Emily. An apology Emily did not accept, and I don't really blame her. As much as we would all like it to be a very dry cut scenario where someone's the victim and someone's the accusee, and although I'm very much on Emily's side for the most part of this, it had come out that apparently Chuggaaconroy not only made Emily aware of what they were going to engage in talking about, but also specifically asked for her approval.
Recall the message from earlier in which Chugga explained his interest in feet to Emily. Well, these screenshots finally showed her direct response. She said, quote, "Good to have that openness and common understanding." In addition, there were other examples from these screenshots of Chugga asking if she was comfortable with the topic of conversation, and she confirmed she was each and every time. Emily tried to explain this away by claiming that she subtly hinted that she was not interested multiple times, but due to her anxiety and depression, it was difficult for her to tell him directly to stop. Supporters of Chuggaaconroy took issue with this too.
And unfortunately in this scenario, it's very much a he said, she said, as according to Emily, she privately discussed all of this with Chuggaaconroy and how uncomfortable it made her feel. As of the recording of this video, there has been a few more claimees claiming that Mr. Chuggaaconroy has been inappropriate with them, but I gotta be honest with you, not a single one of them's worth mentioning because not a single one of them's even credible. As of right now, Emily is the only one with any actual evidence, and she does in fact have legitimate proof of Chugga being rather creepy. That being said, I don't know the inner workings of the scenario entirely, and to be honest with you, I just heard the words YouTuber and foot fetish and my eyes went wide as a cartoon character. This is my gold mine, baby. To me, it seems like a very complicated situation between two complicated individuals, and I do personally feel that shaming Chugga on this public level is not exactly nice. Yes, he's creepy, and what he did is creepy, but if you were both under the understanding, as stated, that this is something you were going to discuss in conversation, it's not then fair to then change your mind midway through this conversation and then expose him as some kind of evil person. The truth of the matter is I think Emily should have spoken to him directly and told him how uncomfortable she was. The only non-complicated thing about this is you have to legally subscribe to Dino. As always, homies, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Keep your piggies hidden. Bye bye.